That's what counts as political outreach right now in Donald Trump's U.S. Department of Agriculture. One of the stories that we've been covering here for the last couple of months now is about this FUBAR situation the USDA got themselves into with trying to get rid of all the scientists at that agency. USDA scientists are an impressive lot. They've done a very, very impressive work for generations at USDA. It's one of the scientific cores of the U.S. federal government. Well, under Sonny Perdue and Donald Trump, USDA announced that all the Agriculture Department scientists would have to move halfway across the country on zero notice or be fired. They described it as a cost-saving move, even though it wouldn't actually save any money. The Trump administration went out of its way to say this definitely wasn't an attempt to get all those scientists to quit. No, no, no. All these scientists who are producing all kinds of inconvenient research about climate change and trade policy and how the Trump administration's policies weren't hurting farmers. They definitely weren't just trying to get rid of all the farmers. This was just about efficiency. This was just about saving money. This was about running the USDA as a more efficient, more effective organization. That was their line on that forced move for all the agency's scientists until Trump budget director Mick Mulvaney let the cat out of the bag while talking to a bunch of Republicans at a fundraiser earlier this month.
You've heard about Drain the Swamp. What you probably haven't heard is what we're actually doing. I don't know if you saw the news the other day, but the USDA just tried to move, or did move, 2 offices out of Washington, D.C., I think to Kansas City, Missouri. Yes, you can applaud that one, because that's what we've been talking about doing. Guess what happened? Guess what happened? More than half the people quit. Now, it's nearly impossible to fire a federal worker. I know that because a lot of them work for me, and I've tried, and you can't do it. But by simply saying to people, you know what, we're going to take you outside the bubble, outside the Beltway, outside this liberal haven of Washington, D.C., and move you out into the real part of the country, and they quit. What a wonderful way to sort of streamline government and do what we haven't been able to do for a long time.
Trump administration was so excited to tell Republican donors about this. You know how hard it is to get rid of these terrible, pesky federal workers? Thank goodness we have finally figured out a way to shed that dead weight. We are so psyched to be able to get rid of these federal employees. And they've been so psyched to do it to the point where they have been just adding insult to injury, not only shutting down the scientific core of the Agriculture Department, but then in the middle of doing so, they told the workers they were trying to get rid of, oh, and by the way, we told you we'd pay you $25,000 buyouts to leave. Actually, we're making that $10,000 now. You still want it? Because, you know, we could just fire you if you'd rather. Funny thing is happening with that, though. Now, the Trump administration is starting to realize that all those workers they got to quit their jobs, all those workers they streamlined out of the federal government, it's possible maybe they needed them. I mean, not that they could have seen it coming. Earlier this month, the Washington Post reported that, quote, the many departures also look likely to leave the USDA's research service unable to produce reports required by law, required by statute. For example, this fall, the research service is slated to update its estimates for the input costs needed to grow wheat in the United States. Congress uses these estimates to determine how to help farmers become more competitive with their counterparts overseas. But the entire existing team that produces such reports is either retiring or otherwise departing. Because the Trump administration came up with this awesome way to streamline them out of their jobs and get rid of them.